Our culture, our tradition, and our heritage still stand true and strong, even if we're away from our motherland, India. This morning, we have two brilliant women, Dr. Siddhanti and attorney Aparna Dave, in our feature called Women in the Limelight. They are caught in a discussion on our roots and our culture as practiced even if we're not residing in our motherland.
Namaskar and wish you all a very, very happy new year. Naya saal sabko mubarak ho. As you recall, last time we had left this show where we had talked about the importance of learning languages and culture and how that can help our society as a whole. We had discussed about learning new languages. Learning several languages can help develop a child's cognitive and IQ. We had also discussed about how learning new languages and new cultures can help somebody grow professionally and become a successful individual. But today we are going to change our focus a little bit. Learning a language and culture is something that helps your personal enrichment. How this can help me. Ultimately, success comes, money comes, fame comes. But at the end of the day, when we all leave this world, we need to make a difference. We often ask ourselves, what have we done for ourselves? And what have we done to change this world or to make this world a different place? And that is what we need to think about very deeply and seriously. And that's what we are going to be focusing today. How language and culture helps you as an individual and helps us as a society. As you all know, that obviously our focus today is going to be on Indian languages and culture because we all belong to India. And what I want to talk about a little bit is that knowing yourself and who you are and where you belong to helps you improve your personality, your perspective, and your overall, the overall way in which you view the society and the world. And today, once again, we have our guest, Smita Siddhanti. And what I'm going to be talking to Smita today is that what is her perspective, how you can improve yourself, and how we can make a difference so that when we leave this world, we all live in the United States, as you all know. We are the first generation Indians, but we need to leave a legacy behind. 400 years down the road, will the people in the United States or Indians in the United States would know how to speak, read, write Hindi, Tamil, Gujarati, or any of the Indian languages? Would they know who Ram was, who Sita was, who Hanuman is? We need to let our younger generations understand that this is our culture and we need to take this legacy on. So even 400 years down the road, India lives and Indian lives in this melting pot of United States of America. So Smita, what is your perspective on this?
Now, as you just rightly said about the United States is probably the only, it actually is the only one country in the world or one space on earth where there's a melting pot of truly all kinds of cultures and a celebration of that. So it's a phenomenal experiment in itself that it is a place where all kinds of countries of people, all kinds of races and all kinds of religion and languages are spoken and are propagated and are celebrated to some extent, a large extent. So in that vein, the generation that came, which is us and before us, who did a lot to maintain the culture.
Absolutely.
And then also help build structures for our kids or us to take our kids to those places. And so we talked a little bit about that last time.
Absolutely.
And we did say, and it is in continuation of emphasizing, as we said, the personal development. This time we were just going to talk about how we can take that to the next step, or in reality, first talk about really why do we need one more time to really, what is that sense of belonging that is necessary?
Absolutely.
And in that vein, I think we wanted to just talk a little bit about the fact that the kids who grow up here really need to not only have a sense of belonging as they're Americans and they belong to the country, belong to the world citizenship, and they also belong to the Indian community, and they have that enrichment of knowing who they are, gives them a lot more confidence. So whether they go to college or they go to the professional world, they have their own kind of people, their own kind of friend circle, along with all other friend circle, gives them a lot more confidence, as we've seen our own children.
Absolutely.
And both of us, of course, have 2 kids, and we talked about them last time. So I think that it's important to really think once as we are parenting our children, that if the language is one media through which they can read the books, they can understand the rituals or the culture or the music or the philosophy of a country or a civilization, only comes through languages, whether it's whatever Indian languages you can teach your children. Obviously, Hindi is one, larger part of India speaks Hindi.
I agree
and
with
an
that, yes.
easier to teach one thing than many things. So the schools here teach Hindi, or some schools are trying that, international.
As you know,
school.
like the school in Edison in New Jersey, they have been able to implement Hindi as part of a foreign language, which
And
is very
Gujarati.
credible, and Gujarati, which is extremely credible.
Right, right.
So, what I was focusing on, Smita, is that, as you know, that some communities have been able to do this. Now, when we look at the metropolitan DC area, as you know, that the Indian community has been growing here steadily. And we see more and more people coming from various parts of the world to settle in the United States, especially in the DC area, and there are a lot from India, because the IT, there's a big IT boom here, and there are a lot of professionals here. So if Edison, New Jersey could have done this, and I believe there's a school in Texas who's also been able to bring Hindi in the mainstream, why not DC? I mean, what do you think is holding us back in our community here, and what are your suggestions? What are we supposed to be doing as parents and as a community to enforce these languages in high school? And that becomes actually a foreign language, the way our kids take French, Spanish. Why not Hindi?
Right. Well, there's some effort in that direction. As I know from my children's perspective, and they were younger, they had to take the language test for outside language or Spanish or whichever test they could take. And they could actually, in Fairfax County, take at least 1 or 2 credits or whatever of Hindi. And that was the first step. Now, there were people who worked towards that, and that they could make it happen.
Could you give a little more details on this, like how your kids did this, so that our viewers have some perspective on this, because most of the people don't know that these things do happen.
Okay, so I think Fairfax County, you can actually find out through them that you will take a Hindi test, and that would count for not 3 credits but 2 credits.
Okay.
I hope that they can make it 3 credits someday, so then they don't have to, they truly have to learn that language in school. But this is, I'm talking almost 6-8 years back, right?
Okay.
So I am sure now, and I'm not kept up with that, there could be advanced notion that you could take a full credit language. Now, in middle schools and high schools, again, I don't think that still exists. So we need to work towards that. I know that there is also not a movement, but there's an effort on part of a bunch of people in Boston area that have looked at the books and said, when they looked at the kids' school books and how they were representing India, wasn't exactly, it was very, very ancient. It wasn't exactly accurate either.
Okay.
So they tried to go into the books, and they studied books from each of these school systems, and they changed the chapters.
Oh, that's
and
very
that was a
interesting.
very,
Okay.
very interesting effort. And the same people, Vanita Shastri is one of my very good friends who started this effort, and she then went into doing this in very many different states with other people. And so that is an effort that everybody can participate in their own school books, whether it's middle schools or history books or whatever. So please look over what the text says about India, about its culture, and how we reflect. And we have to be cognizant, because people really don't necessarily do that. I mean, I've been to plays, and in fact at Arena Theater I've been to a play a couple years back, and it was a play called My Favorite Ganpati, and I thought it was very culturally nice show, but really when I went there, it was quite insulting to Ganpati. I mean, and truly the fact that the Ganpati was actually smoking sitting there, which absolutely was appalling to me, that we tolerated that, and none of the Indians, we didn't say anything about it. none of us. And I just thought that we are very tolerant.
Yeah,
but on the other
absolutely, yeah.
hand, there are a lot of inaccuracies, and that we need to correct as we go along. And I think that's part of our responsibility. And language, knowing the culture, and being involved as a community, we can definitely make a change towards.
So what I hear from Smita today is that her friend Vanita Shastri was able to make a difference. We need to realize that a lot of our school system here, they are not run by Indians, they are run by local people here. A lot of these people do not really know what is involved.
Right.
So we cannot blame them, but we as a community need to take charge. Sometimes it is really disturbing to me when we discuss about these cultures, languages, Smita, with some of the parents here, and they ask me this question, why should my child waste time learning Hindi? Why not Chinese? China is a growing country.
Right.
Or why not Spanish? Or why not French? But I tell them, why not Hindi? What's wrong with it? And you know what the reason behind that is? That way we know who we are, where we come from, and why not make Hindi, because it represents India. I know there are several regional languages, but it's hard to represent, bring all those languages here. But we need to, Hindi is a widely spoken language in India.
Right.
So that's why I'm focusing on Hindi. So why not Hindi? We need to bring in Hindi as part of the high school curriculum. And we need to make a difference. We need to make an effort. You, me, and all the viewers here, you need to take charge to do this. We cannot take a backseat and say, why? This is not important. Yes, it is important. The Chinese did it, the Japanese did it, the Jewish people did it, then why not Indians?
And also to add to that is that there's a lot of resources that the kids and the parents should be exposing themselves to. The Smithsonian, and not Smithsonian already have parts of that, but the Library of Congress a couple of years back has opened up an entire wing on the India wing, and I don't know if people have seen that, but it has all the books from our ancient culture. I mean, you cannot even believe those leaves books and written in Hindi and Sanskrit, and so it'll be good for kids to see that, to be able to absorb the tradition and understand the history.
And on the same tone, I have been in touch with our local high school where we are, and they do not have a problem introducing any foreign language. They are going to email me the procedure of how to do it. All we need is, he said, if you can bring us kids who are interested in this language, we will be happy to enroll and bring Hindi as a foreign language.
Awesome.
So you know what? We need to take charge.
Right.
We have enough money, enough resources, and we need to take charge and bring ourselves and our culture and our language into the mainstream now.
Right.
And we need to all focus. It's not just our effort. We need your help to do this.
Right.
And this is my plea and request to you that please, let's wake up, do something, and work with the school system here to make this in mainstream.
And hopefully in this new year, we will all make that resolution.
Absolutely, Smita.
And help out the society as a whole.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Smita, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.